This is a cake I'm doing, and I'm going to show you how to make it. So stay tuned and watch. This cake is a 6-inch cake, and a little bit of frosting on the 6-inch round. And I'm going to put simple syrup on here, which I've been starting to do, and this just helps moisten the cake. And all simple syrup is melting 1 part sugar with 1 part water until it dissolves. And then you just either use a little squirt bottle or you can put it on with something like this. Here's some raspberry puree I have, and I'll put in the link below how I make this. Now the cake is ready to do the fun part, and I did put a base on here, and the ribbon on the side is real Christmassy, and also the top. So we have green, cream, and red for the colors, because that will coordinate with the cake. Now on the sides, I want it to make it look like a textured effect, kind of like it's almost like bark, because I want it to be a real woodsy looking cake. So all I'm going to do is take some of the Italian meringue and just swipe it on the sides and just texture it. And it's so easy to do this because all you have to do is take back of your offset and just kind of bring it up like this. Sticking up from the top, I'm just going to bring in with my offset spatula. Now I'm going to put some Buckeye gel food coloring that is brown into my Italian mixture, because I'm going to do a grapevine wreath at the top of the cake. For doing the wreath, I do have this round cookie cutter that I'm going to just place in the center and eyeball it to make sure that the wreath will be round. So I'm just going to do a little indentation here. Then I have a Wilton 3, which is a writing tip, to put in a small piping bag, and I'm going to fill up this with the brown. Then I'm going to just gently press down and then just bring the string all the way around and follow the indentation line that I just put on there. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's a grapevine wreath, so I'm just going to go round and round with it. And if some part's a little curvy, actually that's good because that's how grapevine wreaths are. Tip out to a 1 writing tip, and this is a little smaller than the last one I just used, and this is to make the pine for the branches. And so to do this, you have to be a little bit just eyeballing it. So I'm just going to bring it out like this, and it's a little bit tedious, but it will look really pretty. And just to add a little bit green to the wreath. Another suggestion is make sure you build up on them so they look more 3D. Otherwise they can tend to look like little centipedes. Now the next thing I'm going to add is some poinsettias, and I put a little bit of my raspberry puree in my Italian meringue here, and I mixed it up, but I want these more red than pink. So I'm going to take some of my gel food coloring that is a Christmas red color. And then I'm going to add a little bit of powdered sugar to this, not only to deepen the color, but also just so when I pipe the petals on there, they'll be a lot stiffer than if I don't have any in here at all. It's a really pretty red. The tip on here is a Wilton 352, and it's a leaf tip shape. And I'm going to show you how to do the poinsettias directly onto the cake. Now this isn't a very large cake, so I want to make sure it's to scale, so I don't want to make the poinsettias too big. I'm just going to do a couple layers of petals on them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it so it's not flat but to the side. Squeeze down and come out for the first petal. And then I'm going to just do 5 of them. And then I'm going to do some smaller ones for the next layer. but tilt my piping bag up just a little bit more. Now before I do the centers, I'm just going to do a few more of these. So for the centers, I want to mix a little bit of yellow and some Italian meringue. And I'm going to attach my Wilton 3 piping tip back on the cobbler. And you don't need at all very much for this part. So I'm just going to put a tiny bit in here. And then I'm just going to put the little dots, probably around 3 of them, squeeze down and come up. Just to look like there's a center. And the thing is, if you don't do this part, it just won't look like a poinsettia, because all poinsettias have the little yellow in the center. The green I use for the pine needles, I want to use the same green for the poinsettia leaves. However, I don't want it to be exactly the same green. I want to darken it up a little. So I'm going to use some juniper gel food coloring. And see, this is darker than that other green was. Just like the poinsettia petals, I'm going to angle it on the side and do them the exact same way, but you do want the leaves a little bigger than the petal of the poinsettia, since the petals really are bigger on a poinsettia flower. So you want to squeeze and come out to a point. Now I'm going to just add one more flower onto this, and it's going to be holly. So I put a little bit green in the green I had already, just to make it a little bit of a different shade too, because I like it that all of the leaves on here are different shades. This is kind of in between the poinsettia shade and the pine shade. For the hollies, I also have the 352 leaf tip. Now the leaf for the holly are long leaf, and I'm just going to have a few on each holly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make them so they're just kind of like in between here, and they're not very big, so I'm just going to squeeze down and come out straight. And I don't want the berries the same color as the poinsettias, so I'm going to take a little bit of this red and stir it in here and put some powder in it. And there's no raspberry preserve in this, so the red will be a different color. And this is the kind of red that I want. So on the holly leaves, I'm going to just make a few berries. Just squeeze down and come up. And the last thing, for the very top of this, I do want to put little white dots to represent snow. So I'm just going to take my 3 round tip, writer's tip, and just kind of hit the pine cones with the white, just so it looks like there's snow on them. And then lastly, on the top, I'm going to take a little bit of powdered sugar and just lightly tap so it looks like light fallen snow on the poinsettias and on the holly. But just do it very gently. So at the very bottom, I'm going to do a piping tip that is a 107, just to give it a really pretty finish. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy this video, and you like and subscribe if you enjoy this channel, and I hope to see you next time.